Dallas Cowboys preseason is in full swing. These players have gone from the Hall of Fame lights in Canton to the spotlight of LA. 1 year ago on this stage, a star was born, proving to these young rookies and dreamers that anything can happen. This year, all eyes are on the young defenders, Jalen Smith, Taco Charlton, Chidobe Awuzie. Who will prove they're here to stay? Who will outshine the limelight tonight? The Cowboys take on the LA Rams, and we begin countdown to kickoff right now.
The Dallas Cowboys presentation of Countdown to Kickoff, presented by AT&T, is sponsored by Baylor Scott & White. We're changing healthcare for life. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Reliant. Reliant keeps you powered at home, at work, and on the go. Sleep Comfort. It's time you met the new Sleep Number 360 smart bed that adjusts to you for your best sleep, only at a Sleep Number store. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Welcome to the famed LA Coliseum. Here we are for Cowboys preseason game number 2. The Cowboys winners in that Hall of Fame game in the opener over the Arizona Cardinals. And tonight, once again, this season, they throw down in the preseason with the LA Rams. Keith Russell with Mickey Spagnola and the man with the Hollywood glow as always, head coach Jason Garrett. We want to talk a lot of football, but we have some other business to discuss first, Mick.
Jason, you know, we talked the other day about the depth you have at running back with Zeke facing a 6-game suspension. But what about the focus of the team? Do you have to really make sure that that doesn't carry over to everybody else? Because the show has to go on regardless if he's in uniform or not.
Yeah, you know, it's a great question. I think the way we built this team, one of the things they understand is the importance of focus. And you know, we've handled distractions or potential distractions before very well. I think it was probably the best thing we did as a team last year with the different personnel situations that we were going through. Everybody locked in on what they needed to do each day to get ready for each week's ball game. So our team has done an excellent job up to this point in training camp, focusing on what they need to do to get better every day. We're excited about where we're going.
Now, as you said, you kind of treated the Hall of Fame game as your blue-white scrimmage. So really, even though this is the second preseason game, you're kind of treating it like the first, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, that first Hall of Fame game was a great opportunity for us as a coaching staff to evaluate a lot of young players. And we did treat it from a schedule standpoint like that blue-white scrimmage. But to see our guys out wearing our uniforms against the Cardinals wearing their uniforms on a stage like that, it's a great evaluation tool, and I think those guys got better as a result of it. We do have 4 more to go, so you'll see a lot of the guys you saw last week play again tonight. But again, it's a chance for them to get better individually. It's a chance for us to get better as a team.
Coach, if there's one specific thing you're looking for in terms of improvement over the preseason opener, what would it be?
I just think it's consistent intensity. You want to play where you jump off the tape. And I think what a lot of young players understand the more they play is the consistency they need to play with throughout a play, from play to play, from series to series, and throughout a game. We had a lot of young guys do a lot of good things last week, but it has to be more consistent. There has to be a to how you play down after down after down.
So do you mention to some of the young guys and point out, hey, did you see what Dak did last year here at the Coliseum when he was considered the 3rd quarterback that went to the 2nd quarterback, and he comes out here and convinces you, hey, I might be able to be your starter, that these games are important to you?
Yeah, I think everyone understands the way we do things with the Cowboys. There's so many great examples of players who've taken advantage of opportunities. We have so many free agents on our team, guys who are drafted late in the draft, who've taken advantage of an opportunity and are really, really good, significant players on our team. They just need to look around. Dak's a great example, but Cole Beasley's another example. So many different guys, regardless of where you came from, when you were drafted, how much money you make, you're going to get a chance. So take advantage of the opportunity.
You talked about that I'm sure you want to see a lot more from your defense as opposed to the start of that Cardinals game.
No question about it. Those first 2 drives weren't what we're looking for, and part of that was not having enough but part of it was not doing your job. There were some guys not in their gaps. That resulted in big plays. We weren't in the right spot in the zone in our coverages. That resulted in big plays. So a big part of that game is looking at it and say, when everybody does their job, good things happen. And when they don't, bad things happen. So you have to play with intensity, but you also have to understand what your responsibility is and do it.
Let's go over to the other side, your offensive line. You've got to find a starting left guard. You've got to find a swing tackle. We're going to see some different guys tonight. Where do you think you are with kind of that search for replacing the left guard, making sure Collins is comfortable on the right side, and then without Tyron Smith likely playing, going to have somebody else at that left tackle spot?
I think we're in a really good place with the competition for those spots. You know, Doug Free was a really good player for us for a long time playing right tackle. L.C. Collins has been playing there really since the beginning of the offseason and has done a nice job. He needs game snaps. He got a lot of snaps last week. He'll get more tonight. We got a lot of different guys competing for that left guard spot. You know, Byron Bell's somebody that we like there. You know, Jonathan Cooper has played in that spot. He'll play center and guard tonight. Joe Looney's been someone who's been competing for that spot. Chaz Green. So there's a lot of guys fighting. Some guys have been in and out of the lineup. And, you know, the durability is important for these guys to show us on a consistent basis they can go out and get the job done.
Assuming Dak does not take the field tonight, Coach, what are you expecting out of Kellen Moore?
Just want to see him play. Thought he did a good job last week in the game. He's going to get a lot more snaps tonight. And, you know, Kellen's done a really good job in practice, in games when he's gotten opportunities, but he's still a relatively young player in terms of game experience. So he just needs to keep playing.
Head coach Jason Garrett getting ready for preseason game number 2. I told you that man is Hollywood. Look at that Hollywood smile. We're all smiles here. Much more coming up on Countdown to Kickoff. Yes, we have a lot of fireworks going on and fireworks still to come, including future Hall of Famer. You see that guy right there, DeMarcus Ware? He's coming right up. Don't you dare go anywhere. This segment is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, the one you crave, the one you thirst for, the one you want to slurp down. Of course, that would be Dr. Pepper. We're at the LA Coliseum getting ready for Cowboys preseason game number 2. And we're fieldside. Keith Russell, Mickey Spagnola, and the guy who's 8th all-time in NFL history in sacks, the great DeMarcus Ware. Welcome.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you guys for inviting me out here.
So you're a TV guy now, huh?
I came over to the dark side.
So tell me this. Are you healthy?
I'm healthy enough to play if I wanted to, but I'm good, man. I'm just glad to be retired now and doing something else that I enjoy.
So Tyron Crawford's hurt. They got 2 defensive ends that are going to be suspended for the start of the season. Can I talk you out of retirement and come and just play on 3rd down? You don't even have to come to training camp.
Maybe you can talk me into coaching some of the other guys up to get them ready for it.
So you're done?
I'm done. I'm
done.
DeMarcus, how was it to end your career on a Super Bowl title 2 years ago?
You know, that's one thing that players always wish for, to get to the other side, to that pinnacle point of your career of winning the Super Bowl. I wasn't able to do that here in Dallas, but the thing is, the memories, all the things that, in meeting the players and having the things that I had here got me to that point in Denver. And so to have that opportunity is it's one of those moments that you can't take back.
They've got a bunch of young defensive ends on this team, guys that are trying to make their way. What do you remember about your rookie year or second year, things that those guys got to realize or learn to step up their game?
In college, you are an all-star, right? And then the thing is, you don't become an all-star in the NFL overnight. And I always tell the guys to be patient and just let their athleticism take them to that next level and just sharpen their toolbox and just figure out what they can do well and just go out there and play and have fun.
You talked about athleticism. Now I'm going to switch a little bit and talk about professionalism. No one was viewed as more professional during your career than you. What would your message be to this team with some of the offseason stories we've heard?
I think sometimes you have to quiet the outside, and that starts from the leadership in the locker room. And everybody has to sort of corral themselves and get together and do what's best for the team. And I mean, guys like Jason Witten and Dak and those guys and Dez really show the guys how it's done and just lead by example. And I've done that my whole career.
Now, you told me you had some contact with some of these young defensive ends. Who have you kind of seen, worked with, talked to try to help those guys out?
I mean, Demontre Moore, we did a pass rush camp together in L.A., and Tyron Crawford, he always said he liked to sharpen his skills, and when he first came in, I really took him up under my wing and just showed him how to sort of build some things in his toolbox. And a guy like Taco, I text Taco and just told him to relax. I mean, as a rookie, there's a lot of things that are going to be put on you, but just get out there and play to do the best way you can.
Taco definitely disappointed he didn't get that many snaps in the opener. He'll get a lot more tonight. How touching was it for Jerry Jones to talk about you during the midst of his greatest moment, going into the Hall of Fame in Canton, to the point where he can't wait when you're there?
You know, it's awesome coming from an owner like Jerry Jones. When you talk about America's team, you talk about one of the best owners in the NFL, and it's Jerry Jones, and sort of etching your name in stone in the star. And when Jerry Jones, called my name, that felt really good to let me know that I had a big impact while I was here with the Dallas Cowboys. And, I'm just congratulating Jerry Jones and just telling him, also just thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Now, I don't think we're going to see this guy tonight, DeMarcus Lawrence. They're kind of moving him back in. He had to play through 2 back injuries the last 2 years, and you know how difficult that is. And he chose to continue playing, wait for the surgery till after the season. And he told me I just had to be out there with the guys. That's not an easy thing, and he looks really good so far in training camp.
It's not an easy thing to do, and when you are a team player, you do whatever you can do to help the team. And I know, he might have needed the surgery, but he was still out there to show the guys how important this was to him. And now him being healthy, getting out there and playing, he's one of those long guys where he can get out there. He has that edge. He has that knack, to get to the quarterback, and you can see how well he's playing, and I can't wait to see him play tonight.
How much of it, DeMarcus, is talent? How much, if you did a pie chart, how much is talent? How much is ability? How much is stick-to-itiveness? How much is effort? How much is energy?
I think energy is at the top. You have to bring energy to the game, and it trickles down, and then you have to be athletic, and you got to have the smarts also to get out there and play. Every athlete that you come in, they're good. Everybody can run fast. They're strong. But what sets you apart is how you break guys down, how you sort of break down offenses and defenses, and figure out where you fit. So I just think that, it's, to me, it's about education, just trying to figure out where that comes from.
I'm a little worried that he's going to bump us out of his chair.
Well, we might as well get out of our seats right now.
Oh, no, don't do that.
You're ready to go.
Do not do that.
DeMarcus Ware, as always, giving everyone an education. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You can see more of him tonight with the call of the game. Mickey Spagnola, Keith Russell coming back with more from Countdown to Kickoff, including the man who is responsible for shaping this Cowboys roster. We've got plenty of questions. He's got plenty of answers. Countdown to Kickoff. More in a few.
Have you heard Albertsons and Tom Thumb now deliver groceries to your front door? Simply go to Albertsons.com or TomThumb.com. It's the fastest and easiest way to get the freshest produce, quality meats, and everything in between. Hey kid, nice catch.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Whitten.
Albertsons and Tom Thumb offer same-day delivery, and you can shop by history, which means it's easy to reorder the things you love most. Try it for free today at Albertsons.com or TomThumb.com. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys.
This segment is brought to you by the law offices of Domingo Garcia, the lawyer that works for justice. Domingo Garcia. Here we are at the LA Coliseum getting ready for preseason game number 2 between your Dallas Cowboys and the LA Rams. Keith Russell with Mickey Spagnola and Cowboys Chief Operating Officer Stephen Jones.
Stephen, first chance we got to talk to you about the suspension to Ezekiel Elliott. We know it's a 6-game suspension. What was your reaction, and where do you guys go from here?
Well, we knew this was a possibility, and certainly whenever you put together a football team, you know you're going to have injuries. You know you have things that come up that you have to address. We think we've got good depth at the running back position, and I think we did a good job of doing that in the offseason there in terms of putting this football team together.
So you seem pretty confident about the rest of your running back group.
Yes, we do. Feel very confident. Obviously, all three of those guys, from Darren McFadden to Alfred Morris to Hillman, all have skins on their wall. They've had big years in the NFL. Obviously, Darren had over 1,000 yards with us in just 12 games, and so we feel good about the group.
Darren McFadden, 4th in the NFL in rushing 2 years ago for your Dallas Cowboys, and there you're looking at number 20. Let's switch and talk about defense, Stephen. Every year we seem to ask you about the depth on the defensive line, and here we go again. Your thoughts on where you guys stand in that category?
Well, I think we have certainly helped ourselves in the defensive front. You know, as we've moved through over the last 2 or 3 years, we're certainly investing picks in that group. We've got now a number 1 in Taco. We've got a number 3 in Malik, a number 2 in D. Lawrence, and then, of course, Tyron Crawford was a 3rd-round pick. So starting to be some quality picks. Obviously, Tapper's a 4th. But I do think we've got some good depth there in the defensive line. It's a very competitive camp. As we all know, when you watch Rod Marinelli coach him, he expects a lot out of that group and gets a lot out of that group. And you're going to have some attrition there. There's some guys there who obviously are having to miss some time. But I think at the end of the day, we'll get all these guys back and ready to play for the Giants.
You know, I tried to help you out. We had DeMarcus Ware on before you came on, and I told him, hey, you don't have to go to training camp. Just show up on that first 3rd down on the season opener, and we'll get you a deal. It'd be nice to have him back, right?
Well, I tackled him as he was trying to get up, and I told him I had a contract over there that we could bring him out of retirement. He's exactly what we're looking for, that guy when you break the huddle that they're looking for and they're concerned about. Obviously, we're so fortunate to had him be a big part of our organization. Certainly, I think he's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer.
You know, one of the guys that I think has the potential to be closest to him, DeMarcus Lawrence. He's healthy. He's looking really good in training camp so far. I don't know if we're going to see him tonight. But your thoughts on him and his potential?
Yes, first of all, he may be at the top of my list in terms of the respect I have for him. He had an injury last year that I think 90% of the players in this league would have stepped down and gone to IR and had the injury taken care of. But he was committed to this team. He worked through it. Everybody knows he wasn't 100% last year, but I'm with you. I think he's due for another big year. He's healthy. He's ready to go, and certainly one of the leaders in that meeting room with the defensive linemen.
And who can forget how strongly DeMarcus Lawrence finished the season 2 years ago? Now, Stephen, one of the things I had a chance to do was interact with you as your father was preparing for his greatest moment in Canton, Ohio. I spoke with you before your father did an awesome speech, and you said, a lot of this rests with you. You said somebody in the family might be looking for a different job if things don't go as planned with the Dallas Cowboys. What does that say about your passion and your commitment to getting the Cowboys back on top?
Well, we were talking along the lines of, would Jerry maybe trade his Hall of Fame for a Super Bowl? And the answer is yes, he would. And certainly it pains Jerry and I that we weren't able to get Tony Romo a Super Bowl. I think he's one of the great quarterbacks to ever play our game. He's certainly, I think we missed a great opportunity there to get one with him. So, we constantly put pressure on ourselves. The accountability's there. We have to have more consistency in terms of, putting this team together. I think we've got a good young team. I think I read something the other day where we, of the top 25 players under 25, we're the #1 team with the most players under 25. So we've got a great young team. I think we've got a great nucleus to really build on. Obviously, a great quarterback in Dak Prescott. That offensive line's certainly incredible, and we just got to prove ourselves some there on the defensive front, as we just talked about. And I think we got a great opportunity to contend for a championship.
You must feel awfully fortunate. You're going to start the first season in, 15 years without Tony Romo. And you've got a replacement for him. And I would imagine you never dreamed that you would be starting this season, last year at this time in this place without Tony Romo.
Never could have dreamed it, although when this game was over, we were starting to feel pretty good this time last year when Dak went out and had the type of game that he had. I've been amazed at the camp Dak's had. He's come back. He's worked harder than ever. He's got his body in even better shape. He's a huge student of the game. He's got a relentless work ethic, obviously a tremendous leader on this team, and I think it's all out in front of him. He knows that he's got to improve if we want to win Super Bowls, and I'm betting on Dak.
You know what I'm betting on, Steven? I'm betting on the chemistry and camaraderie of your football team to take you guys a very long way. It's not often that you get a chance to see a team in an informal setting, but when I saw the guys during Hall of Fame weekend, I said, man, this team is close.
They are close, and we've got so many not only great football players, but great men who do wonderful things in our community. They have each other's back. They know they have to be accountable to one another, and I'm with you. I think the chemistry's right. I give Coach Garrett a tremendous amount of credit with his leadership with this group, and I do think we've just got a bright, bright future, and it's going to start this season.
Cowboys Chief Operating Officer Steven Jones is confident as always. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Now, this segment is brought to you by the law offices of Domingo Garcia, the lawyer that works for justice. And you know what we're working to do? We're working to bring you that man lining up right there, a future Hall of Famer, Jason Witten. He joins us in just a few. And now's a good time to order Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. $10? I'll take it. If that's what it costs, I will take it. Welcome back. We're not doing the cheap thing here. We're giving you a wealth of Cowboys information back here at the LA Coliseum. Keith Russell, Mickey Spagnola, and Nick Eatman of DallasCowboys.com. You know, Nick, one guy who has all the right ingredients, Jason Witten. He's going into year number 15. He says he still feels like a rookie in terms of his excitement.
Well, I don't think Jason Witten could really approach it any other way. You know, guys, when we walked around the Hall of Fame last weekend, obviously it was a great time for Jerry Jones, but we couldn't help but wonder that they do have a tight end on the roster that seems very worthy of a gold jacket one day.
Presenting Jerry Jones for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Gene Jones.
As Jerry Jones became an official member into the Pro Football Hall of Fame last week, the entire Cowboys roster watched with appreciation. To most of them, that was their owner and GM being inducted. To Jason Witten, it was much more.
Quite honestly, he's been a father figure to me. I mean, what he's taught me, not only in my career, but also in my personal life, just how he's invested in me. I'm forever grateful for that and appreciate what him and Mama Jean have done to all of us.
According to Jerry Jones' speech, the feeling was more than mutual. In fact, Jerry says his all-world tight end isn't compared to just other football players.
Number 82, Jason Witten. Jason's right there at the top 5 of all the men, owners, commissioners, players that I've met in the NFL. Not players, people. He exudes character and class.
While Jerry went on to say he fully expects Witten to be wearing a gold jacket someday, he hopes it's not too soon down the road. Witten enters his 15th season with 10 Pro Bowls under his belt, and he needs only 17 yards to become the Cowboys' all-time leading receiver. To his head coach, that sounds like Canton-worthy to him.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he's a Hall of Fame tight end, and he's one of the best tight ends that ever played this game, and certainly the best of his generation in my view, and such a complete player. And like I said, the approach that he takes is such a great example to all of us. The production he's had on the field over the course of those 15 years has been pretty remarkable.
While Witten isn't thinking about getting inducted anytime soon, just being there in Canton last week can have a lasting effect on the team.
Coach Garrett's always talking about the standard, and I think he knows better than any of us that there's no better illustration than walking around here and seeing it. And if that doesn't motivate you as an individual, as a team, you know, what does, you know? And so for us, I think it's just an unbelievable opportunity to provide perspective of what we were trying to do as a football team. And
so for now, it's still all about the team for Witten, although it only seems to be a matter of time before his day in Canton will come.
You know, you would think after 15 seasons, Jason Witten has really seen it all. But you guys, he went to the Hall of Fame last weekend and, you know, met someone that he said had a lasting impact in his career, and Steve Largent, who seemed, you know, Steve Largent seemed to pop up a lot in different ways, but I thought Witten told us a story about how basically he had seen something on NFL films of how he used to practice by himself and tape all the play sheet to the goalpost and just run routes against air, and he did that, and now he's done that every year of his career. So when Steve Largent met him, he said, "Hey guys, you don't know who I am." He said, "I know exactly who you are, number 80 Seattle Seahawks," and met his son as well and just told him that. And it was really kind of an emotional time for both of them.
Yeah, it's one of those wow moments that I think a lot of us experienced at the Hall of Fame. You see somebody, I almost ran into Jim Brown, and I'm going, oh, that's Jim Brown.
You would have lost.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Still would have lost.
Yeah, you would have lost that one.
And so Witten wanted to meet Largent, but then he finds out Largent wanted to meet him.
Yeah, it's awesome how that happens. You know, Steve Largent also, I know Terrence Williams was looking at something, go, look at this guy did all these catches without, you know, any gloves. And I know you told me Cole Beasley, he wanted to meet Cole Beasley, and Cole looks at him as kind of a trendsetter. So, you know, these guys go to the Hall of Fame, and it's really historical, but you see a running back looking at an Earl Campbell or Jim Brown or something like that. They kind of know, they get it. These guys paved the way, and, you know, if we keep doing what I'm doing, who knows? You know, maybe I could be there. And Jason Witten will be there.
Keith, a lot of people, if they haven't been to those induction ceremonies, they need to go. It's a great experience.
Oh, it's amazing. You get goosebumps full time. You're in Canton, Ohio. Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com. Great job. Great story. Hang tight.
Thank you.
Mickey Spagnola, Keith Russell coming back with more from Countdown to Kickoff. Maybe Jason Witten finishes his illustrious career with a Super Bowl title. That man right there, he won 3 rings. Nate Newton joins us next. Oh, Hollywood, Hollywood. This is where the stars come to play. But there are no bigger stars tonight than the Dallas Cowboys. Inching toward kickoff in preseason game number 2 against the LA Rams right here at the LA Coliseum. Keith Russell, Mickey Spagnola, 3-time Super Bowl champ, Nate Newton.
Yay.
That's our man.
That is our dude.
Yeah, what's up?
You ready for a little preseason football here?
Oh, you know it, man. The Hall of Fame game was a Hall of Fame game with the young guys. We're going to see a mixture of second and third year and fourth year guys. I'm ready, man. I'm excited.
Now, one of the guys we're not going to see tonight, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes, sir.
Facing a 6-game suspension. Just kind of your thoughts on what happened there and how does this team go forward to make sure they maintain their focus?
Well, first of all, they fixed that left guard spot. You know, we need Chaz Green to show up. We need Jonathan Cooper. We need Byron Bell. One of these guys got to show up. La'el Collins got to become quick, real fast, real good, real quick, and make sure that he solidified that right tackle. Because if we miss Zeke for 6 games, we definitely going to have a hole there. So now, all of a sudden, you don't have 8-man fronts. You have regular defense coming at you. Now that speeds up Dak's maturity. So he has to be ready. So this offensive line, if they can fix that offensive line, they can be well on their way without Zeke.
So what Nate's trying to say is if the opponents don't respect the Cowboys' running game, they're going to back off. So guys like McFadden, Alfred Morris, maybe Ronnie Hillman, Rod Smith, they got to take advantage of the opportunity.
Let me tell you this right here now. And 2 years ago, we had McFadden was 4th leading rusher in the league. No touchdowns. Touchdowns is what Zeke brings. The breakaway ability is what Zeke brings. And he brings 8-man fronts. That's an easy read for your young quarterback. Now Zeke is not back there. You have to prove to these teams that you can be as a devastating runner as when Zeke was there. So they're not going to be scared, fellas. They're going to sit back and see what you can do.
One thing that scares everyone, Nate, is the rash of off-season stories that have plagued the Dallas Cowboys. How was your group of Cowboys able to overcome that adversity?
We were overcome that adversity for one simple reason. One simple reason, baby. It's these right here. Believe me when I tell you this, we did not have these. These would have ruined us. Thank you. That is the simple deal. You cannot take a phone everywhere you go and you can announce who you are. That's the only difference. we did some wild things. We did some crazy things. We did some outlandish things. But now today, the society is not accepting that. And even though Zeke has not been, say, what you call legally charged with anything, it's what they call a cumulative effect, and it caught up with Zeke with the commissioner.
I thought he was reaching in his back pocket to pull out Troy Aikman and say, this is why we overcame everything.
No, it's just, honesty, fellas. I mean, people don't like the simple fact that it's a cell phone. You know, a lot of things that we do today with Zeke, you know, with the girl up there, you know, on St. Patrick's Day, you know, we've seen megastars do that same thing, but that megastar is not a Dallas Cowboy. That megastar is not Ezekiel Elliott. That megastar is not a leading rusher of the NFL. And more importantly, that megastar is not a Dallas Cowboy.
Preach on. Okay, now I want you to preach on that left guard spot. Some of the guys that you've seen play there, what do you think and where do you think they're at that spot?
Right now, Chaz Green is your man, but he has to stay healthy. I think I put Cooper a close second, but he got to learn how to finish on the runs. He's okay on the pass deal, but Byron Bell has to be stable, man. I mean, he's been the most inconsistent out of the three, you know, and he has to come to play. I hope he plays a lot tonight. I hope Cooper plays a lot tonight because these guys need reps more than anything.
Now, are you okay with La'el Collins at the right tackle spot?
Yes, sir. The more work that La'el Collins get, the better off he'll be. I tell you what, David Irvin, and before Tyrone Crawford got hurt, they was bringing straight thunder to this young man, and he was getting better and better every day. He played okay in the Hall of Fame game, but we need for this to be accelerated. We don't know if Zeke going to be out 3 games, 4 games, or 6 games. Mr. Jones, work your magic, baby. We need to hear from you.
One thing La'el Collins told me is being left-handed, he's now forced to punch with his opposite hand. But he says if he gets that down pack, defenders, watch out. One thing we need to watch out for is the progression of Dak Prescott.
Yes.
With this impending suspension, how much pressure is on the shoulders of number 4?
You can go from a comfortable 25 to 30 throws a game, and what Zeke gave you was the ability, he kept it close, then Zeke will go, and then Dak can go finish the game if need be. Now, we may see where he may have to tote us a couple of games, unless our defense go over the top. That defense too young to go over the top right now. Right now, they just need a good pacifier and some clean diapers.
And, Nate, a lot of people focusing on the suspension, but these guys over here need to focus on playing football because, as I told Jason Garrett and Steven, the show's got to go on, and you've gone through that with having guys suspended. You can't sit around and feel sorry for yourself.
They're not. Jason Garrett probably ain't even looked back. He probably haven't even mentioned none to that effect. He knows that everybody's read up on. They know the situation they're in. Right about now, McFadden saying, I'm licking my chops. Morris licking his chop. But I tell you what, boy, it's a number 45 named Rod Smith. Watch out now. He finna grow up real quick. That's a big boy that can do some things.
The brother of Jalen Smith, and he ran hard. He ran hard in preseason game number 1.
Thank you. It was called a Hall of Fame game. Excuse me. That wasn't preseason game number 1. Preseason game number 1 tonight. I'm sorry,
sir. Thanks, Nate. Thanks, Nate. Thanks for the mild correction. Nate Newton, passionate as always.
Yes, sir.
The 3-time Super Bowl champ. I love you too, man.
Sir.
Thanks for joining us. Look at all that Cowboys fan support in the stands here at the LA Coliseum. Getting ready for the preseason game between the Cowboys and the LA Rams. More from Countdown to Kickoff in a few. Now's a good time to order some Papa John's pizza. Why's that, Mick?
Do you know about the ingredients?
A little bit.
Fresh, whole, never frozen. And how about that pepperoni? 100% pork and beef. And when you got ingredients like that, you have better pizza. And then what do you think you have?
I think you have ground beef. I think that's what the Cowboys defense is going to make of the Rams. Lindsey Draper with the guy with doughy hands. The big man with the big hands. More on him. Rigo Gathers in a few. Ford, official vehicle of the Dallas Cowboys. Ford is the best in Texas. Welcome back to the LA Coliseum, getting ready for the Cowboys to take on the LA Rams. Keith Russell fieldside with Mickey Spagnola and Lindsey Draper of the Dallas Cowboys. Ford, You know who looks like an F-150 right now?
I know who you're about to say, Keith.
Rico Gathers.
Absolutely. Rico's a great story, but that's not all he wants to be. You know, the Cowboys took a chance on him last year in the draft. In the late rounds, he's had a year in the dark transitioning to football, but now he tells me this past week, I'm done with people thinking that I'm just about the hype. No one has more to prove than Rico Gathers. In football, that is. Gathers played basketball in college at Baylor University. He's third all-time in rebounding and set the Big 12 single-game record with 25 points and 28 rebounds in a game. But none of that matters now.
For a guy to play a sport, dominate a sport, and then say, you know what, I want to transfer over and go to another sport and do the same thing, like that takes a lot of courage to just stick with it.
Big dude. When I shook his hand, you know, he got a little in it. So, you know, it's just exciting to see Baylor alum that played basketball out here with the Dallas Cowboys. He's hungry. He has a lot of drive, and he's fought his way through the ranks, and, you know, he's been a member of the Cowboys. That's something a lot of people can't say.
Rico's come a long, long way. But one of the best things he's done is he just dives in there. But his approach has been outstanding from the start. He has a long way to go. There are certain things he does better than others. More naturally, we saw some of that the other night, the ability to run down the field and make plays over his head. But I think he's gaining more and more of an understanding of the game.
Throws it in the end zone for Gathers. He's bumped. He catches it. It is a touchdown to Rico Gathers.
And Rico showed that he is getting some understanding of the game last week in Canton.
Wow, what a catch by Rico Gathers.
I had the biggest statement to prove on this team because, you know, everybody, you know, they want to see it, but they're not sure that it's there.
Well, when head coach Jason Garrett was asked, is Rico Gathers still a developmental player? He said, guys, we're all still developmental players, but I need to emphasize that Rico Gathers has a long way to go. And he told me, as Jason Garrett said it himself, Mick, these games out here, thank goodness we have 5 preseason games this year, because this is where I get better. The routes on air and everything are great, but he's learned so much in just 1 preseason game this year.
Yeah, and you know, he had a great start in the Hall of Fame game, obviously the 3 catches, the touchdown, but there's more to playing tight end than just going out and catching passes. So like tonight, what will be some of the things you think the team's looking at in his play?
Oh, he told me footwork, hand placement, repeat. He needs to focus on blocking, and when I asked head coach Jason Garrett what he needs to do, he said, I need to see tempo before a play, after a play, and within a play. These guys transitioning to the NFL sometimes struggle with the tempo and being able to finish each play, both because of fatigue and mentally, so I think that's going to be huge.
One of the things Rico told me is his inspiration comes from his brother Greg, a former defensive end at Georgia Tech, who had to give up football due to kidney disease. He says he's out there playing for his brother. Lindsay, can you tell he has more heart than maybe the average person who's trying to make that monstrous transition?
Keith, he told me in high school I had LeBron James comparisons. I had everything going for me in basketball. What does it take for me to come out here? It takes, first of all, to be a little crazy, and it takes a lot of courage. So the confidence meter for him is there. It's just, can he get the reps down in preseason that he needs? And he got north of 60 snaps last game. I think that's good.
And, you know, when Jason Garrett says we're all developmental players, and he understands that. I know he wants to get on that 53-man roster, and if he continues to play the way he's played in that first preseason game, they would have little chance to cut him on the last cut and then re-sign him to the practice squad. So he may force their hand, but it's got to be consistent. It can't be show up today, lax tomorrow, come back again. He's got to show them he's consistent enough that force them to make a key decision.
Absolutely.
Great job by Lindsay Draper.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Good to be back.
Thank you for coming on, as always. You know, he's also an aspiring rapper. He goes by the name of Rickadime. Meantime, we're rapping with more on Countdown to Kickoff as we inch closer to the ball going in the air between the Cowboys and the Rams. Mickey Spagnola and I have some final thoughts coming up.